All right, for more on this, let's get to Republican Congressman from Florida, Mike Waltz. He's joining us live now from Florida, it looks like. Congressman, I apologize. It is 2024, and I'm starting off a segment talking about congressional lawmakers calling each other baby girl and attacking each other's eyelashes. What is going on Capitol Hill? Because you see a lot of members are quitting left and right on both sides of the aisle. What is happening?
Yeah, look, Aisha, that was a heck of a day. I spent the morning in a courtroom watching the President of the United States, Trump, get treated like a petty criminal, and Cohen getting caught lying on the stand to get back down. And then I was sitting right there as all of that went down. It got spicy, Aisha. That hearing in particular does. We've got some personalities on it. But look, I mean, I kind of throw it back on the media. The media's been covering this nonstop. And frankly, we'll see if the media covers the Armed Services Committee when we're doing a lot of bipartisan, serious work this coming week. So, you know,
I think
the question to ask is,
I think, Congressman, excuse me, I think we're covering it because of decorum. And we see this, we've seen it happen a few times over, not exactly play out like this, but where decorum comes into question.
Fair enough, but the question to ask, does the nonstop wall-to-wall coverage of it then incentivize the behavior, because then the media will cover it even more. But there actually was a serious issue that Representative Green, that Marjorie Taylor Greene was trying to raise, in that members of that committee, particularly Representative Dan Goldman, have the daughter of Judge Merchan on retainer, paying her tens of thousands of dollars, coaching Michael Cohen in terms of his testimony. That representative was sitting right there. She was trying to ask about it, and then that's when the whole thing blew up, which is an incredibly serious issue. This is election interference, and why are members of Congress getting involved in a New York trial, going after the president? Oh, by the way, Aisha, sitting in that trial was Biden's number 3 justice official, sitting up in a New York Manhattan courtroom feet away from the man who was ahead of Joe Biden in the polls. So this is pretty incestuous all around, and that's what Representative Green was trying to get to before we descended into chaos.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that trial. You went up with a large group of House Republicans this week. You wanted to see it personally for yourself. You were tweeting about it. And something that caught my attention, you said that you sort of forgot how big of a liar Michael Cohen is. And you sort of like, it started to come back to you how many times he's lied on Capitol Hill in front of Congress. Do you think that that's resonating with the jury? I mean, you got to see them up close. Do you think that the jury is getting that?
Yeah, you know, Todd Blanche is very methodical in how he lays out, but I have these things out. It could get, frankly, a little tedious, but the jury was dialed in. Several members were taking copious notes the entire day. But to your point on Cohen as a habitual liar, I'm a member of the Intel Committee. I had forgotten he had lied to the Intel Committee about the Russia hoax, then lied to his lawyer about lying, then pled guilty, then lied to the judge about pleading guilty. And that was just one episode. So then to have kind of this Perry Mason moment where Blanche catches him on a lie right there on the stand about a phone call to President Trump, which turns out it wasn't Trump. And Cohen had just testified to the prosecution 2 days prior. It's not like he forgot. It was to Trump's bodyguard. It was about a totally different topic than what he said about the hush money. Right. And it was only 90 seconds long, all of which Blanche pulled out in text. So I think the jury's dialed in. I won't feel good about it until this thing gets thrown out or they acquit him. But at the end of the day, look at what Biden's DOJ has done. They've locked Trump down in court. They've bled his campaign account in terms of money. Even when he gets acquitted, they've taken him off the campaign trail. And my fear is we're descending into a third world country here, where unleashing prosecutors on your political opponents are the norm in places like Venezuela. Is this where we're going as a country?
Well, in Pakistan, we talked about that. You know, there is a candidate for president who is currently in prison in Pakistan, and you've got a very, very divided country there. So it sometimes feels very familiar. to me as well.
That's right.
Talking about political persecution, I know a lot of Republicans feel like the DOJ has been giving cover to this current president. The House Judiciary Committee voted to advance the contempt of Congress against AG Merrick Garland this week for not releasing the audio tapes from her interview with President Biden. This is how your Democratic colleagues are seeing this vote. Listen to this. This is Jared Moskowitz.
And so the whole thing is a joke, right? There's no reason to hold Merrick Garland in contempt. He's complied. There was no interference from Merrick Garland. But this is also a diversion from their failed impeachment of Joe Biden.
Do you feel like there is a clear conflict of interest here when it comes to Garland and in trying to protect the president?
Oh, 100% there's a conflict of interest. And at the end of the day, even though we named a special prosecutor, Garland makes the ultimate decisions. So a couple of things, because the Democrats are also saying, well, they released the transcript of Biden's interview with his author, where he was openly talking about having classified documents, knowing that he had them, deliberately pointing out that they were in the basement, and then talking to his author about it. All of those things are a crime, and he should be convicted, but it's Garland that's standing, or he should be charged at least, but it's Garland that's standing in the way. What we want are the actual audio tapes. Because we are not confident that the transcriptions were 100% accurate. There's things in there that are labeled as inaudible. We want to see what those were. And at the end of the day, you get the tone, the tenor, you get the full context and picture. And by the way, Aisha, I've seen those classified documents that were sitting in Biden's garage in his basement. Highly classified, highly relevant to what's going on in the world today with very, very sensitive sources. So we also want to know who was traipsing through the Biden Center at UPenn and who was Hunter bringing from Kazakhstan, Russia, China, or whomever in and out of Biden's garage. So we also need an investigation into the damage that was done to our sources and methods. There's so much to unpack here. But the Democrats and the DOJ are going to block and tackle for Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's a serious issue, and we'll see if the committee can get to the bottom of it. That vote, we'll see when it comes up for a full floor vote. Congressman Mike Waltz, thanks for being here. And I just want to point out that you are always a gentleman on Capitol Hill. You have really, really great decorum, and you never step out of line. So thank you for leading by example.
Well, thank you. I have a strong mother, a strong wife, and 27 years in the Army. And we can get things done and have disagreements, but that's what the American people expect. So thank you for that.
Right. Okay, Congressman, thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.